What is up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of the Fantasy Fellow Show. We are finally here, our first live ESPN mock draft of the fantasy season, the 2024 fantasy season. In this video, we're going to be drafting from the 101. It's June 20th, so I'm not sure how much this is going to matter if you're watching this in July or August. Take that with a grain of salt. But that's what we're doing today. We're going to continue to do these. I'm going to probably do one live, mock draft per week going forward all the way to the start of the season. And then I'll continue to upload mocks throughout the year. So if you guys do have any specific mocks you want to see, let me know and I'll see what I can do. But otherwise, we're here today using ESPN. ESPN I just like using because it's a popular one. It's one of the main ones for a casual redraft league. I think ESPN does a good job. But I'm curious to see what these ADPs are looking like and just see if we can have some see what we can do with some of this stuff. But the draft starting in about 10 seconds. I took the 101. Next week, I'll do the 102. We're going to go with Christian McCaffrey here and see what we can build. And it's your standard 1 QB, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, a tight end, a flex, a defensive special teams, and a kicker, and then a lot of bench pieces. So I'll get this thing started with a little Christian McCaffrey, and we'll have some fun with it. Good afternoon to Harris. Hope you're doing well, bud. Happy to be back doing the live mock drafts, and it looks like we're moving and grooving here. I'm going to go to pick history. I wish they had like a draft board, but CMC goes number 1, Jamar Chase number 2. Aiden grabbed him. Aiden, shout out to Aiden. Hope you're doing well, bud. And then we got CeeDee Lamb, Tyreek Hill, Amon-Ra St. Brown. And hey, Brian comes out of the woodwork. Good afternoon, good evening, man. Hope you're doing well. I think we're officially back, like just kicking off the first live ESPN mock draft of the summer here. Again, we're going to continue to do this. I'm not sure if I'm going to do these Tuesday nights, Thursday nights yet. We'll kind of figure out what night works best. For me, Wednesday nights are going to continue to be a live best ball stream, but I want to make sure I have a night where I do a live ESPN, Yahoo mock draft, something like that. But good afternoon to Brian. Hope you're doing well. And it's my first try on ESPN here. I haven't done any practice swings. I do want to see what some of these ADPs are. So I kind of went to the top 5. You got Breece Hall at 6, Bijan at 7, Justin Jefferson goes at 8. Saquon Barkley at 9 feels a little bit early to me. I know in best ball leagues he's a late second, early third round pick. I do like A.J. Brown and Puka Nacua there at the 10-11, and then Jahmyr Gibbs finishes out the first round. So kind of status quo. I think Saquon Barkley is the one that jumps out as a little bit rich as a first round pick. I think he's more of a round 2 guy for me. And with me grabbing Christian McCaffrey, I think I'm going to probably look at receivers coming up, but let's see what Brian's got to say here. I think I burnt myself from football with drafts and I still have fantasy baseball going. And yeah, fantasy baseball, I got one really important dynasty baseball league that I have going on, but it's not, what I like about it is you set the lineup for the week, and I'm not doing daily lineups. So that's what I like about baseball. When I played fantasy basketball, that was every day, and that was mentally draining. And you're setting lineups and looking at waivers every day. Whereas baseball, I kind of just I check the stat tracker every night, see how the team's doing, and I don't really have to worry about pulling things. But yeah, I'm in the midst of a playoff push. And yeah, I do like the daily. I think daily for redraft. I think for dynasty, I'm fine with just kind of the set it and forget it. But I got some pickups that I got to get in tonight before tomorrow morning. But we're into the second round here. Garrett Wilson. Curious if you guys like Garrett Wilson this year. Jonathan Taylor, Kieran Williams, Chris Olave, Devontae Adams. Isaiah Pacheco goes in the second round. Now, he's a 4th round pick over on DraftKings and Drafters and Underdog right now. Michael Pittman's more of a 3rd round pick, and I think Travis Etienne is more of a 4th round pick on those best ball sites as well. So it's looking like they're pushing running backs up. I know Marvin Harrison is a early 2nd round pick in best balls. Travis Kelce's a mid to late 3rd round pick. Aiden says he drafted. Yeah. And, this is all for science, right? Like we're just kind of having fun and seeing what the ADPs are like and seeing what you can build. Obviously at pick 102, you probably don't get McCaffrey there. You get your first pick at receiver. So whether it's CeeDee Lamb, Chase, whatever. And I'm in the realm that like Jamar Chase could be the wide receiver 1 this year. I think that's not crazy to think that. But I'm on the clock here. I'm not interested in Derrick Henry. I already have a running back. Christian McCaffrey, he's locked in for me for the whole season as my RB1. But I do like Drake London quite a bit here. This is a full PPR mock. I think Drake London's set for career highs with everything. Kirk Cousins is there. It's going to be a really nice third season for Drake London. And then as I'm looking around here, again, I'm not interested in the old running backs, Henry, Mixon. I do like James Cook, but not this early. He's a 5th and 6th round pick in best ball leagues. But I do want to get some shares of that Texans offense. I think Nico Collins is the guy that I'm going to probably be telling you guys that I like quite a bit this year. I mean, last year he was a pretty much a wide receiver one, and he's got those big spike games built into him, a 34, a 34, a 23, a 35, a 27, and he does have a weekly high floor. And, the presence of Stephon Diggs, sure, he might not be a target. Like he's going to get targets, but I still think Nico Collins is really, really good. And oh yeah, Brian, we're gonna run that back. I think this is our 3rd or 4th year doing the Fantasy Fellowship League. If you want, you can email me at the fellow KGB. I'll type it in there. The fellow KGB at gmail.com. Just send me, Brian, send me an email and I will get you in the Fellowship Listener League. It's a super flex league. So that's a little bit different. There's no kickers or defense. It's all offense. It's a lot of fun. And I think we're entering our 4th year doing it. So if you want to get into that, let me know. I'm going to probably clean up. So I probably need to open that up and get the league renewed and things like that. But thank you for reminding me. The Fellowship Listener League will be back for its 4th season. But after I take Nico Collins at 25, you see James Cook. I like Devon Achane a lot. I know he's undersized and he's going to miss some games, but you can't deny his talent. Josh Jacobs at 28, Mike Evans, Joe Mixon, Derrick Henry. Alvin Kamara at 32 seems a little bit rich for me. I think he's a guy that's getting older and showed some signs of decline. I want to see more Kendre Miller this year. DK Metcalf is a good pick. I like Brandon Ayuk here as well. And then Sam Laporta. Are you guys in on Sam Laporta? Let me know in the comments or the live stream. I do like Sam Laporta quite a bit. I still think Travis Kelce deserves the number 1 tight end tag. But it's going to be close, whether it's Kelce, Laporta, McBride. I think, there's a handful of guys that could be the number 1. Dalton Kincaid could be the guy this year. There's a lot to like there at the top of the tight end position. And hey, that's okay, Harris. This one was kind of, impromptu. I just wanted to get one done out of the way. So people can start, knowing that we're here doing these. But I think going forward, I'm just going to say it right now. Like, I think Tuesday nights are going to be the mock draft night. And I'll probably set them a little bit later in the evening if that works better for everybody, whether it's, 6 or 7 p.m. Central Time. Let me know in the comments, like, what would be a good time for you, Aiden, Harris, Brian, if you want to play with us too. I'm willing to do them Tuesday nights and probably like every Tuesday night going up until Labor Day weekend. But hey, we're moving in to the 4th round. You've got Kenneth Walker, Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts. So the first QBs are coming off the board here in round 4. And I don't mind clicking on the early QBs this year. I think there's a pretty good advantage to these guys. I love the value on Jalen Waddle. Tank Dell, Devonta Smith is a pretty good one. I also like, Mark Andrews down here in the 4th round. So I'm enjoying the 4th round values. Cooper Kupp is, I think, another guy that, he was injured last year. He missed, some games at the start of the year with that ankle sprain. He might not have been 100% the whole year. Still a very good player. Aiden says 7. That can work. And then what are your thoughts on Keenan Allen? Probably not some volume. But so I'm very nervous. Keenan Allen goes very high in best ball drafts, Brian, like in the 4th, 5th round. And I'm just concerned. Like, you got DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, Rome Odunze. You got running backs that catch the ball. You have a lot of interesting players there. And you got a rookie quarterback distributing the ball. They're going to, it's Shane Waldron, the offensive coordinator from Seattle. I'm slightly concerned that it's going to be, and I'm up to pick here. I want to click Deebo Samuel because I think he's a really good click, but I don't know if I want him with CMC. But I'm going to do that. And then my next pick, I'm going to continue to go down the receiver well. You guys know me. I like to grab, 3-4 receivers early and kind of see where it's at. If I didn't go receiver here, whether it's Neighbors, Flowers, or I like T. Higgins quite a bit as well. Those guys intrigue me a lot. I don't mind Trey McBride here. If I want an elite tight end, I think Trey McBride's a good pick, but I'm going to grab the rookie, Malik Neighbors, and see what happens. But back to Keenan Allen. Where is Mr. Keenan Allen? So he's down here at 66, which actually seems like okay value. I think he's yeah, like wide receiver 3, like Brian's wondering here. I do think, he's gonna, be a heavy targeted guy for Caleb Williams. He's gonna knock a little bit of the upside off DJ Moore. I just, he's getting older. Injuries can happen. He's also in an offense that I don't know what it's gonna look like. What if Caleb Williams struggles his first year? It's very hard for a rookie quarterback to boost 2 or 3 players catching the ball in fantasy relevance. So I think he's going to be more of like a wide receiver 3 flex in full PPR this year. And I just, I don't know if I'm too interested in Keenan Allen, because like where he's going, you can grab Keenan Allen at 66, but Cooper, McLaurin, even Jaden Reed, Deontay Johnson, there's probably receivers after him that I'm going to feel pretty good about and have sizable roles in a passing offense. So I'll probably be telling you guys to cool it on Keenan Allen this year. You like Sam Laporta, and I agree. I do think Sam Laporta is probably being drafted a little bit too high in all my best ball leagues right now. I'm honestly not grabbing a lot of Sam Laporta. I think he did run hot with touchdowns last year. Yeah, he had 10 touchdowns. But overall, the tight end market was down last year. He was tight end number 1 with 235 full PPR points. In the previous years, like Kelsey, 300 points. 2021, Mark Andrews, almost 300 points. So I think it was kind of like a rare year where, he probably should, like Laporta probably should have been, tight end 2, 3, something in that range. But just, Kelsey kind of cooled off. Mark Andrews got hurt. I don't think I'm buying Sam Laporta is the tight end 1 for Dynasty. I think he is the tight end 1. It's really close. Him or Trey McBride maybe might have something to say about that. But it's a little tough for me to click McBride. But after I continue to build my receiver core with Debo and Malik Neighbors, you see Zay Flowers, Anthony Richardson, George Pickens. Ramondre got a big contract today with heavy incentives. That was cool to see. 4-year deal, I think up to 36 mil. CJ Stroud, Christian Kirk. I like Kirk a lot. I think Kirk is a fantastic pick. Where he's going, give me Christian Kirk over Keenan Allen. I mean, he was fantastic last year up until that injury. Kyler Murray, Trey McBride, James Conner, Dalton Kincaid. Kind of a good, like, I'd rather click Dalton Kincaid here at pick 59 than Sam Laporta in the 30s. I think Kincaid's going to be the number 1 receiver for Josh Allen. There goes Keenan at 60. So if you want Keenan, it's a 5th round, maybe a 6th round pick this year. David Njoku goes early round 6. Some veteran running backs, Aaron Jones and David Montgomery, Jonathan Brooks, Austin Eckler, Evan Ingram, and Calvin Ridley. I'm going to be up to pick here in a little bit. And I've built out a pretty good receiver room. I could pivot and look for some other options here. I do need running back. I need a tight end yet. There's going to be some guys that I like coming up here. Not sure where the chat is on Zamir White. I'm interested in Zamir White. Not so interested in DeAndre Swift, who just went. And I missed my guy, Jalen Warren, who's probably my favorite pick at the running back position this year. So we're going to be kind of doing a ragtag group of running backs here. I could grab George Kittle, but I'm already kind of heavily invested into the 49ers offense. I could grab Kyle Pitts, but I got Drake London already. So you know what? I'm going to grab a quarterback here, Dak Prescott. I feel pretty confident about him being a top 5 QB this year. He was last year, and I'm very excited about the Cowboys passing offense because they don't have any running backs. They're going to continue to lean on Dak. He's throwing the ball as much as he can handle here. And Jaden Reed's a good click down here. I'm going to lean into some uncertainty here and see what I got with Zamir White as my RB2. I think he's the primary ball carrier for a okay Raiders offense, but I'm going to continue to build out my running back room. So we need running backs, we need some tight ends and some depth sleeper receivers here. But getting Dak here feels really good. He was QB3 last year, and he played really well. The one game that he didn't play well, week 1, week 5, and week 15, I think he knocked me out of the playoffs that week. But I think I'm willing to bet on Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb this year. So Swift was I've never really been high on Swift. I think he's a little overrated as a runner. I think he's a good pass catching back. But you're also, you're pairing him with a rookie quarterback, an average offensive line. I think there could be some ups and downs. His situational downgrade, though, from Philly to Chicago, I think needs to be stressed a little bit because that's pretty significant. You're going from one of the best running situations and one of the most fantasy friendly spots for a running back And, he started the year off great, and he didn't really finish as a running back too. So I'm slightly concerned with Swift being like a must start every, week player. They also have Khalil Herbert, who I like as a rusher, and then Roshan Johnson year 2. So it's kind of muddy to me in Chicago, where if I'm drafting a Bear, I want DJ Moore. That's kind of the one guy I want. I don't know if there's enough room. And honestly, like, I think the success of being a running back in Philadelphia, like, look at Miles Sanders. He had some really good fantasy seasons there, and he's kind of almost out of the league now. So I'm not too big of a DeAndre Swift guy. What are your thoughts on Nick Chubb? I'm not touching Nick Chubb this year. I mean, I really don't like grabbing any player off of a serious, knee injury, let alone how gruesome his was. You're talking about an aging back who's known for being one of the best pure runners in the league. But man, he's 100% missing the first 4 games on PUP list. And if you kind of do the math and you project out, he might be ready for training camp. I'm not sure yet, but there's a chance that he's not playing till week 7, 8, 9, 10 in that range. And even when he does come back, I think taking Nick Chubb over Jaden Reed, Zach Moss, like even Najee Harris, and you guys know me, I'm not a big Najee guy. I think that's a big mistake. In best ball leagues, Nick Chubb goes in the 150s. And those are leagues where people are paying $15, $20 to do the draft. So Nick Chubb at pick 85 is one of the worst clicks you can do in fantasy football right now. But we're on the board here, and we're going to start to collect some of my favorite sleepers here. I really like Tajee Spears this late. I could pair Tajee with Tony Pollard and see how my running backs shake out. And I might even do that. I think Tajee Spears is a really fun pass catching back. He had some nice moments down the stretch last year. He's got 4, 5, 6 catches in some games. He's a good runner. I think he's going to be in the base offense. So I don't mind grabbing both Titans running backs here. Receivers, I could take a shot on some rookies, whether it's McConkey, Xavier Worthy goes pretty late here. I think those are fun bets. And you know what? I'm gonna grab Lad McConkey, just because I think out of all the rookie receivers this year, obviously Neighbors and Marvin Harrison Jr. Those guys are going to be the wide receiver ones on their team already. But after that, I think Lad McConkey might have the best opportunity to lead his team in receptions. We know Odunze is not leading his team in receptions. I'm pretty sure Brian Thomas is not. And then after that, like Ricky Pearsall, Xavier Worthy, these guys are all second, third options on their team. Whereas McConkey, it's not going to surprise me if he goes out and catches 75, 80 passes as a rookie this year, and he's Justin Herbert's number 1 target. So I don't mind pulling him there. And I got 5 receivers now, so I'm feeling pretty good there. The way that I draft is I want to make sure I have at least 2 running backs and 2 receivers that I can pull off the bench and say, the season's so long. Like, what you draft is not what it looks like by week 10, not even sometimes by week 4. It looks like garbage. So I'm just trying to make sure that depth is stressed. I really like that the Marquise Brown pick before me was such a good pick. 95th overall. And to me, I think he's the Chiefs wide receiver 1 this year. I also like Deontay Johnson quite a bit as Bryce Young's number 1 target. So you can get some really good values late on receiver here, it looks like. And then we got some running backs flying off the board, whether it's Blake Corum, Zeke, Tony Pollard, Singletary, Jordan Addison, JSN. Got Sutton and Odunze coming off the board. So we're looking pretty well balanced here. I do want to start looking around for tight ends and some more running backs here. The fact that I can still get, Dallas Goedert, Dalton Schultz. I think Pat Freiermuth is going to be a smash this year. I said that last year, and I know that kind of bit me, but I do believe in Pat Freiermuth this year, especially with Arthur Smith being his coach, his offensive coordinator. Let's see here. My wide receiver core is dirty. Aiden says we'll look at Aiden's team towards the end of the draft. We'll kind of just do a review. But I'm curious to see how you came away with the number 2 spot. Interesting. So, I mean, I'm in the camp that Rashee Rice is getting 4 to 6 game suspension. And I mean, I don't think Rice is that great a receiver. I think he's a good zone receiver that Pat, likes to dump off to. But I think Hollywood Brown has been very good, and he's played with some good offenses, and he's got some big upside. So it already sounds like he had a pretty good mini camp in OTAs. So he was the wide receiver that was working with the team and had the best reports out of camp. I like Xavier Worthy, but he's going to be a little boom bust for my liking. So if I'm ranking the Chiefs receivers, Kelsey, obviously the number one target, but I would go Marquise, Rice, and then probably Worthy as far as guys that I'd want to start every week on my redraft team. And just the thing with Rice is, 4 to 6 game suspension. That's kind of a long time to wait for a player. But when he does come back, what's that going to look like? I'm not quite sure. Where did Rashi go in this draft? He went round 7, pick 9. So, give me Marquise Brown almost 2 rounds later. I think that's okay. But we're on the clock here in a second. I like a lot of the receivers here, whether it's Curtis Samuel, who I think could, lead the Bills in receptions. But we built out a pretty decent receiver group here, so I'm kind of happy with what I got. I'm not buying J.K. Dobbins at 115. I think that's pretty awful. I think Chase Brown's interesting in the Bengals offense. That could be a fun receiving back. But I kind of mentioned it before. Alvin Kamara makes me a little nervous. I kind of want to take a shot on Kendre Miller this year and see what I can do there. As far as tight ends, I don't have one yet. And you guys know me. I like going 0 tight end. I kind of don't want to grab one here. I'm going to grab one more running back that I like a lot. That's going to be Marshawn Lloyd for the Green Bay Packers. I think he is, in a way, he's what they're trying to get from Aaron Jones. Like, he's going to be the receiving kind of specialist there. And if anything happens to Josh Jacobs, you might have a league winner on your hands. And even if Jacobs stays healthy, the Packers have been willing to they've split the carries down the middle with A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones the last 3 years. They each get about 180 to 200 carries per season. So I think there's a lot of juice to squeeze out of the Packers backfield this year. So I'll take 2 shots on running back, and I think I'm covered. I mean, I got CMC at RB1, and then we're going to have tryouts at RB2 from Zamir White, Tajay, Kendre, and Marshawn Lloyd. My receivers are Drake London, Nico Collins, and Deebo Samuel. I feel really comfortable with them. If I need to pull up Neighbors or McConkey, we'll see what rookie pops off, and I feel pretty good about that depth there. So with 2 bench spots left, I need a tight end. I don't take kicker and defense until the last rounds. I don't like to, I can find kickers and defenses throughout the waiver wire in the season and play those matchups if I need to. I don't want to invest. I mean, I get one chance to draft players. I want to make sure I'm drafting running backs, receivers, and tight ends in the late rounds here. But yeah, this is going pretty well, I think. I do want to just kind of continue to recap here. Round 11, after I take my 2 running backs, you got Brock Bowers, who Aiden grabs Brock Bowers. I'm curious what others think on Brock Bowers. I'm cautiously optimistic on him. I don't know if I want to, go into hit. I don't know if I'm going to whip him out week 1 as my starting tight end. I might want a veteran that I trust, but I think he can be a nice sleeper pick that gets better as the year goes on. You got defenses going. Rashid Shaheed's kind of a fun depth piece. Algier, Aubrey, Justin Herbert, Aaron Rodgers going deep, and we're starting to get some auto picks with some defenses and some kickers. So I'm going to kind of peruse the board. QBs this slate. I mean, Watson, Trevor, Tua. These are going to be great clicks. If you wanted to wait for QB, like if I waited to pick 144 and 145, I could come away with Trevor and Tua at this range and just play matchups and feel really good about my squad. So that's an interesting strategy to consider going forward. The tight ends, are they going to give me Dallas Goedert for free? That I would feel really, really, really strong about. I mean, I think Goddard's a really good tight end. He just, he has trouble staying healthy. So I am excited about Goddard. I think you want a piece of that Eagles offense. I don't have any Eagles yet, so if that's the case, I will gladly take Dallas Goedert. And Aiden's all in on Brock. I only had 2 dynasty drafts so far. I did not get Brock, but I got 1 more coming up in late July. So I'll see what I can do. But I'm going to grab Goddard here as my tight end 1. I could grab another tight end and maybe take my Pat Freiermuth pull here. Let me just look at the running backs real quick. These guys are all kind of backups with some interesting upside. I do like Gibson, Chandler, McLaughlin. I think Rico Dowdle's interesting. He could outplay Zeke this year. But I'm going to let those guys maybe fall back to me. The receivers, Curtis Samuel's still on the board, man. He should be gone. But I waited for tight end. I'm gonna double dip with my guy Pat Freiermuth, and we're gonna double down because I was very high on Pat last year. But I think having Russ Wilson there could be looking pretty good. And yeah, the one league that I'd already drafted, I think I had my tight ends were Njoku, Jake Ferguson, and Cade Otton or something like that. So I did feel comfortable enough where I didn't need Brock Bowers, and he went the pick before me, so I didn't really have the opportunity to do so. But I do find myself clicking Brock Bowers in best ball drafts. I think he's a guy that, again, could really look good, after the first few weeks once he gets his feet underneath him and we see how the Raiders are deploying him. But I have, we're kind of in the auto pick zone right now. A lot of people have left the draft, and that's fine. That's going to push some values to us. But I have one more flex spot that I'm going to pull with this last pick. Whether it's, I like Demario Douglas to be the wide receiver one for the Patriots. I think he's their starting slot receiver. We'll see how Drake May does. I think Romeo Doubs is a really good pick this late. He had a really strong, he missed some games down here with some duds, but he's a 50-50 chance at a touchdown every week with Jordan Love in that offense. So I like that. Brandon Cooks he's a sneaky one. He finished the season really strongly with, 3 straight touchdowns. It sounds like he was there's no CeeDee Lamb at minicamp OTAs. It sounds like Brandon Cooks was like really, really clicking with Dak Prescott. So I don't hate taking him this late. I think Tolbert's an interesting sleeper as well. I want to get pieces of that Dallas Cowboys offense, whether it's Dowdle, Cooks, Tolbert. They're going to throw the ball a lot, and I'm excited about that. Jahan Dotson could have a nice bounce back year with Jaden Daniels and the new offensive that they're putting in there. And then there's just a lot of waiver wire type running backs sitting back here. And yeah, I can't remember who I was talking with too, but like it's almost like a lock that Brock Bowers is the greatest tight end prospect of all time. Like people were ready to draft him on their dynasty rosters his freshman season, like Aiden noted here. So we're talking potentially about one of the next great tight ends. And, once the Raiders get themselves a quarterback that's going to hold down the fort for, at least a contract or two, and Devontae Adams gets out of there, we could potentially be talking about Brock Bowers just being the tight end one in dynasty and all kinds of formats going forward. So a lot to like with Mr. Bowers. But we're finishing up here our final picks. It looks like it's taking a little bit of time here. I've got, 5 running backs, 5 receivers. I feel really good about my depth there. I got 2 tight ends. I don't really feel like grabbing a second quarterback. I could grab one if I want, but, if Dak gets hurt, my season's already kind of screwed, and I'll just play the waiver wire anyways. So I don't mind kind of just going with one QB here. It's probably honestly between Dowdle, who again, he might just be better than Zeke at this point in their careers. He could lead the team in RB touches and things like that. So I'm gonna grab Dowdle. Brandon Cooks did go ahead of me, and it's kicking me out of the flex spots now. So I'll go ahead and grab a defense. Is the Saints defense even good? I don't know. I haven't really done my defense research yet. The Dolphins are a good team. They got some fun pieces on that side of the ball. They're going to win some games. They get the Patriots twice a year. I'll go with the Dolphins there. And then for kicker, if you guys have watched my stuff, I like looking for indoor kickers, guys that are on good scoring offenses, but not too good at scoring offenses, because those teams that continue like the Bills, I don't know if I really want the Bills kicker. They score too many red zone touchdowns, things like that. So if I'm looking around here, I think, maybe Matt Gay for the Indianapolis Colts might be a fun click this year. LA Rams, I don't know who their kicker is. Joshua Cardi, we'll watch for him. Matt Prater, the Arizona Cardinals kicker, could be interesting. I think he's kicker 21 last year, but he played through a lot of junk at the beginning of the year. He did look kind of okay at the end of the last year. So, I'm looking for indoor kickers. I like Daniel Carlson a lot. He was the number one kicker for me the last few seasons. Helped me win some keeper league championships. But who really, Michael Badgley maybe for the Lions. They score a lot of touchdowns though, so I get a little bit nervous about that. He looks like he's their starting kicker going into the year. But if it sits like this, I'm looking at Matt Prater, Jason Sanders. The Colts kicker did go. So, but we're on ice. And if you're just joining us now, don't forget to like the video, subscribe, all that good stuff. Help the channel grow. We're going to have a fun summer here. And again, I'm going to mention that every Tuesday night going forward, I think we're going to shoot for about 7 p.m. for a mock draft start time. And the way the ESPN lobbies go, at 7 p.m., that's the lobby we would be clicking into. They don't put those on the website until 15 minutes before it starts. So check back, 15 minutes. If you want to get the link, I'll post it here. Otherwise, reach out to me on Twitter and I can send you guys the links. If it's up to like 7 p.m. Central Time would be good for me. 7 p.m. Eastern Time puts it a little bit later. I'm kind of indifferent. I was thinking 7 p.m. Central Time. And whatever, I get to get my kicker. I'll take the Cardinals kicker, whatever. But my recap here, we start with CMC, locked in at the RB1 spot all year. My receivers, we got some bangers here. Drake London, Nico Collins, Debo, and Malik Neighbors. I feel really good about that group for the whole season. I get a potentially top 5 quarterback in Dak, and then we're going to play roulette at running back 2. Zamir White and Tajay Spears will get my first cracks at it. I got Ladd McConkey, another bench receiver piece for me. I took 2 more darts on running backs that could have a nice season. Kendra Miller, Marshawn Lloyd, Dallas Goedert, and Pat Frymouth will compete for my tight end 1 spots. And then I ended with a shot on Rico Dowdle. And yeah, I like the yards after catch ability of this team. So it was a fun team. And again, it's my first try on ESPN here, but we'll click on Aiden's team and see where he's cooking. He ends up with Lamar Jackson, QB1, can't complain. Running backs are James Cook and DeAndre Swift at the RB2 spot. Receivers are Jamar Chase, Stephon Diggs, really good 1-2 punch. Brock Bowers at tight end 1. I love Zay Flowers in the flex, defense kicker, whatever. And then on the bench, man, he's got some pieces here. Brian Robinson Jr., which could be nice. I think Marquise Brown is a really good pick. He might be starting for you sooner than later, and especially if Rashee Rice isn't playing. I'm probably going to start Marquise Brown. Blake Corum, and Trey Benson. That's kind of what I did with my Kendra Miller and my Marshawn Lloyd picks. I just kind of took 2 young players that could get more work as the season goes on. I think Corum and Benson are both solid investments and sleeper upsides. Khalil Shakir could also have some nice moments with Bills. The wide receiver room's up for grabs. And then some more darts here, like Xavier Legette, who, he could be, a Debo, DK Metcalf kind of type player. We'll see if he clicks with Bryce Young. And then Tyrone Tracy is one of my favorite players to click in best ball leagues. I think he might be the kind of 2-minute offense, 3rd down back package running back for the Giants right away. And then he's got some upside to earn more work as the season goes on. But good draft there, Aiden. This was fun. And again, it's June 20th. Like we are officially sick. We're doing ESPN mock drafts in June. But this was fun. Again, we're going to continue to do these. I think every Tuesday night we'll try 7 p.m. Central Time. And we'll have fun doing it and continue to do these. I did the 101 tonight. I'm going to do probably the 102 next week, and we'll kind of continue to move our way to the 112. But I will sprinkle in some Yahoo, some sleeper mock drafts. I'll try to do some super flex, some half PPR stuff, and we'll kind of just get all the bases covered. But yeah, you have a good night as well, Aiden. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me and just having fun. So take it easy, guys. Thank you so much for your time. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.